Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our new ERCI STARS webinar on software solutions for improving efficiency in rail operation. My name is Lutz Hübner, and I will moderate the session together with my colleague Nagels from our British partner cluster BRIC. And first, I give you some introduction on what is ERCI and what are the main topic of the STARS project. ERCI is existing for more than 10 years, and since 2022, a legal entity based in Brussels. It contains 16 railway clusters, which are covering 16 European countries, and more than 2,000 companies, of which the majority are small and medium-sized enterprises. And we have also universities, R&D organizations, education institutions, incubators, accelerators, and some other organizations which are part of the clusters. Yeah, what about the services of ERCI? It's mainly on support for small and medium-sized enterprises on a different level. That means, for instance, to enlarge the visibility on European level. For instance, with the annual ERCI Innovation Awards. Also, we are forcing partner matchmaking in research and development projects. We give information on possible funding opportunities, for instance, on European level. Then we are dealing with innovative topics which may have a major influence on future development of the railway system. That might be the topics cybersecurity, multimodal logistics, green and sustainable mobility, norming and standardization, and human factors. And therefore, we are working in different ERCI task forces to elaborate these topics, to set up a good network, international network of certain players in these certain fields, and to discuss possible project approaches, proposals for future R&D projects on European level. Then, for sure, we enlarge the visibility, especially of small, medium-sized enterprises. Also, if we having such events like today, webinars on a regular basis, and for the moment, we are using a good relationship to the STARS project in order, especially to present use cases for the application of advanced technologies in the railway sector. And that is the topic of the STARS project: to support small, medium-sized enterprises of the rail supply industry in successfully adopting advanced technologies to boost products, services, manufacturing processes, and the internal organization of the company. And 10 cluster organizations, 5 technology centers, 1 digital innovation hub, 1 blockchain provider, and 30 supporting organizations from in total 14 European countries are direct part or indirect and supporting part of the project. My colleague Guido from Italian cluster DTEC Fair is one of the project coordinators, and in this session he is so kind to provide you all the links which are showing in the slides into the chat. And the chat function is also interesting for your question. Please use the chat function in order to ask you questions to the presenters. Yeah, the STARS supporting model is to give support to small, medium-sized enterprises. On the one hand, technology support. On the other hand, business support. We have different instruments. For instance, international strategic alliances, where about 10 small, medium-sized enterprises with nearly the same issues are discussing solutions together with technology centers and cluster management organizations. We have the Hack and Match events, 5 Hack and Match events in this project. We will still have 2. I will come later on these Hack and Match events and topics where small, medium-sized enterprises could address challenges and solution providers could address solutions, and then in teams will be discussed on a 2 days challenge how to solve these addressed issues. And Hack and Match is not only hackathon, it's also matchmaking, and therefore we established a B2B matchmaking platform where you are able to set up a profile and have the opportunity to find maybe good partners which you can get in contact with, and to enforce the activity on this platform a bit, we set up special meeting time slots, and directly after the webinar between 11:30 and 15 o'clock European summertime, you might have the possibility to meet each other. Prerequisite is that you have been registered for this through this platform. It's free of charge, and it takes not so much time to do so. So we will start with the first presentation, software solutions. There are different ones you will see, and the first is coming from my home cluster, from my home region, the Transport, Mobility and Logistics cluster in the German capital region, Berlin-Brandenburg. It's Menlo 79. And Gerrit is presenting us a software for intelligent staff dispatching in rail. Gerrit, it's your floor.
Thank you, Lutz, and a warm welcome to everyone. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you today. Let me quickly share my screen in times of home office and remote office. I think you all know that this is a crucial part of the day. If that works out, we should be fine. And it should come up. Loading. Just give it a quick second. In the meantime, I'll introduce myself to you. I'm Gerrit Kochtokrax. I'm Chief Revenue Officer with Menlo 79. We are a Berlin-based logistics and rail startup. Why rail? It somehow came with our origin. So most of founding and management team, we worked together at Deutsche Bahn, at DB in the cargo traffics in Germany, and did digitization and innovation project there. And 2019 decided that it's time to move a little bit up and beyond to not only do digitization within the corporate, but also do digitization for the whole industry, the whole sector. And we're now looking, as we started on rails, looking to expand a little bit over those borders to other logistic branches where our software solutions can be helpful. So this was my bent over while loading the presentation. You should now be able to see it, and I'll just guide you through it. So today I'm going to talk to you about Wilson. Wilson is our software as a service solution for intelligent cross-company staff dispatching. And as I already said, to give us a quick insight who we are, this is our management team. We are all colleagues from the Deutsche Bahn corporate, and come with a multitude of backgrounds from product development, technology, but also railway operations and marketing. It's not only us four doing Menlo and Wilson, but also I think in total right now 33 colleagues all over Germany, all over Europe, and also a couple of team members in the offshore regions, but to be sure, the main IT power, the main development and algorithmic and artificial intelligence know-how is based inside our main company. So what is our mission? Why do we start business on the first hand? Because I think digitization on rails and in logistics is severely underrated. Everybody or many other industries are a couple of steps beyond where rail is at about right now. Combining this with upcoming demographic challenges and skill shortages, blue-collar workforce shortages, we do see issues arising that are already predominant now, but going to become worse in the near future. Work ethics change, work-life balance becomes more and more of a topic, and this is a niche that we think needs digitization urgently. Existing solutions come up with big monolithic IT structures that you have to buy or to purchase in the first place, invest a couple of €100,000 to first get started. And we think this is a great spot to introduce our software service solution. But so far for the company, let's have a quick deep dive or look at the problem itself. And I went through the media shortly before my presentation here to see what are the most pounding issues. And the thing is, across Europe, operational staff is becoming increasingly scarce. Not only in Germany, but in Germany, I know it from my daily experiences, but also all over Europe. We see driving skill shortages. Is it truck? Is it train? Actually, it doesn't matter. And there's some very creative ideas to get more people to work on the tracks as drivers, or also in other technical professions. In Germany, we're taking more and more refugees to work to work as train drivers. But there's lots of programs to motivate people to do this very important and infrastructural important jobs. Why are those? Why is the workforce scarce? What do we think? I know why it's not the case, because it's primarily not due to poor pay. The pay for working on rails as a train driver, for example, is extremely well paid compared to other operative tasks. So I checked for the train driver salary in the UK. We talk about roughly £60,000 a year, what is comparable to well-paid and well-trained office jobs as well. Also, it's usually those guys going on strikes. It's not only in Great Britain, it's also in Germany, as we're going to experience next Friday, where we have a good, well-trained and also already comparably high-paid staff that is going for strike, not only for pay, but also for poor working conditions. And those working conditions usually arise, and I've seen a lot of dispatching and staff rostering tools and procedures by now. How is it done? It's based on experience of a couple of good planners and dispatchers, and it's based mainly on Excel. When you go for bigger companies, it still might be Excel. So seeing a company with 150 drivers doing all their scheduling and payroll billing stuff in Excel, no problem. You'll find them on the spot. Other than that, if you are advanced, you'll have a software solution based on those monolithic software structures I talked about, where you invested a huge upfront amount, and now you're struggling to get regular updates and improvements in the software. So what is offered here does not take into account the needs of operative staff. And this is, from my perspective, what is the most important part on the upcoming years. Operational staff must be given more focus in the future. they must be put in the center of attention, not only for them to be happy, to be loyal, to decrease staff fluctuations, but also to increase work safety and, last but not least, efficiency in staff usage. I don't know if you know what is the German train driver usage quota. So how much time of their shift they're actually driving trains and not waiting, doing guest rides or sitting around. I'm up for guesses in the chat. I have the latest numbers that I researched. I'll share them with you. But yeah, please feel free to just type in what you think is the average staff efficiency for drivers in Germany. To sum it up, on the side of railway undertakings, but also service providers that are leasing out local drivers, we come around the all in all same issues every now and then. We have inefficient manual shift planning. I talked about Excel or other monolithic structures. And as you all know, on rails, when I do staff dispatching or train dispatching, once I made the plan, a couple of minutes later, it's already obsolete. The infrastructure delays and so on are creating such a high volatility that it's a constant planning. And there is not like in the old days where you did a planning, then you hand it over for dispatching and for the operations. And now you are in a constant planning mode. Which adds a lot of complexity to your processes. And on the other hand, the employees' preferences, whereas we all are doing home office or work from our vacation spots, call it vacation, our colleagues on the operative side need to be on their trains at 2 o'clock in the morning. However, nobody takes into account their personal wishes. And what causes, on the one side, safety implications, because if you don't feel well, you don't work safe. And on the other hand, there is also lots of fluctuation, because when you're a high-skilled train driver, you'll find your jobs very easy. So the need for those companies to make a difference to other offers is increasing fast. And this is a problem situation where Wilson comes into place with our solution, where we focus on 3, let's say, main factors. It's sharing, it's intelligent, and it's social. So we enable cross-company staff dispatching, especially focusing the efficiency of train driver usage or operator staff usage. We support with intelligent functionalities. We developed a complete artificial intelligence for staff dispatching that does your rostering more or less automatically. And we include the social factor, mainly based on interactions and on preferences. So in Wilson, your staff can enter their personal work preferences based on lots of different factors, and the Wilson artificial intelligence will use them for optimized rostering and dispatching. Also, we're not going to completely make planners and dispatchers obsolete. We're far away from that. But adding up those informations this information that they urgently need to make good decisions, this is what we do with our UI UX. So if you start using Wilson, you won't need half a year or 9 months of training before you're able to work the software. But we want it to be as easy to use as privately used software, because the people working in railway dispatching offices or scheduling offices, they usually do not have 5 to 10 years experience in their subject, but they are coming from schools, from universities, or they are switching jobs. So the time to efficiently working on by themselves needs to be decreased by those companies. This is what we we are aiming at. So this is what we want to do, and this is how we do it. We offer a cloud-based solution for intelligent staff dispatching. Why do I say cloud-based that often? I think most software developers are switching to cloud solutions, but are not yet combining it with a software as a service approach. Obviously, cloud-based is prerequisite to also offer it as a service. But more and more customers and users are understanding the advantages of software as a service solutions. So if you either have to invest a huge upfront amount, spend half a year waiting for someone to show up at your site and then implement the software for you, then have comparable low running costs, compared to I can switch it on right away. You click join and you can implement the software at your site in a couple of days, do the training and the rollout in under a month, depending on your size, without paying a huge upfront amount, is becoming more and more common, also in the rather old-fashioned railway industry. So this is what we think a very important factor, and also differentiation between those old-fashioned, I call them old-fashioned, but those monolithic service providers. How does it work? What we're looking at, we offer a standalone system that is a web portal for planners and dispatchers, and a mobile application that is in real time connected with those planners for operative staff. You can use it standalone, as I said. Many small and medium-sized rail undertakings and service providers are doing that, and by rising or by growing, we can also seamless integrate in existing IT architecture, import data from circulation plannings, shift plannings, and transport management systems, and export seamlessly to payroll and billing providers. And also this is a change in paradigm. We do not build the whole functionality that you need to run your business in our software. On one side, we couldn't do it on time because there is you need a SAP size company for. And on the other side, we want to focus to do staff dispatching and planning best. So we strongly believe in focusing and a hard niching down your scope, but then partnering up with other companies, enabling interfaces on the API level to include in other systems. But what of course nobody wants is that your planners and dispatchers have 3 or 4 screens open and they need to switch between their applications to run their business. That for sure is not what we want to offer, but also enable the usage of the best-in-class software solutions for every discipline that you have on board. It's my pleasure now to show you a couple of insights to follow up on what I just said. There will be a couple of short videos. I really hope that works out. On the first test, it went smoothly. So as you see, there is a modern UI UX. When you use it, there is shifts that have been displayed where you can see on the first click what's happening, what shifts are staffed, what shifts are unstaffed. You can see I'm going to choose the lowest shift with the red indicator that is not yet staffed, and I'm going to staff it just now by opening it. I can see it's focused on railway specific work items as preparation services, train runs, breaks, and so on. And I'm now going to easily ask Wilson to select the best available driver. And now he chooses from the available workforce. and is by that checking qualification. We have a complete qualification management integrated in the system so that every requirement will be checked against the qualification of the operator staff at hand. But we're also checking work time regulation. So if there's someone coming from a night shift and you want to dispatch them an early morning start for the next day, then we will prevent that. So all legal requirements are checked. And the next thing is that if there's more possibilities, we will also show you the best solution for the company. So from an efficiency perspective, we have a smart score evaluating your dispatching decision based on productivity and the transfer times. And we are also evaluating your decision based on the user preferences that are entered. So how does this decision match the driver's personal preferences? And based on that, I decided to dispatch a shift. So you can do it, of course, based on single shifts that you need to redispatch or reschedule. You can also do it, of course, for your multitude of shifts. And show it to you in the app. So the driver that is working on their smartphone. Once shift is released, it appears on the smartphone of the driver or the operational staff, and they can just start it. Can read through it, see all the different activities that they need to do, have it on one side, have our documentation at hand, and have necessary comments at hand, for example, telephone numbers and addresses of staff that they need to contact on the way. And then they can just start it and by that track their shift, track their work time, but also do the operational tracking of trains. In Germany, you'll receive information from your network provider about location of your trains. Once you leave public infrastructure and go to private infrastructure, once you leave Germany, or once you're on loading sites, you lose this information. Today there are GPS solutions to show your updates on your services, but we're gonna implement, or we have implemented insights from driving staff, which is by then not only, let's say, dumb information coming from a GPS sensor, but also interpreted information on delays, on locations, and on the next operational steps. And also, as you can see, the app itself, the mobile application, tries to follow up the guidelines of good user experience and design. We've analyzed a lot of other railway applications for mobile solutions, and they all come up in a I call it Windows 2000 design, where you have a lot of windows, a lot of small print, a lot of hard to reach buttons, and we strongly believe that if you don't make it as easy as possible and as common as possible, so they should not staff should not see a difference between their privately used applications and their occupational used applications, they'll not use it. They'll simply not use it, no matter what supervisors say, no matter what companies' decisions say. If you provide in 2023 slow working, old-fashioned designed applications, you'll never receive a good data quality, good data entry quality. And that's why we think it's paramount to invest in this user guiding and this user experience. I already told you that Wilson AI is a part of it. So we developed artificial intelligence together with the Berlin University that is rostering shifts automatically, either on a weekly or monthly basis, taking into account all decisions or all prerequisites that come up to have a high productive and highly preferred shift roster. And also a little sneak peek into our, you can see someone forgot to translate the slide, so sorry about that. I'll show it to you anyway. How you can enter your preferences in our app, where you just use the operational preferences. For example, we're not only talking about timing, but we're also talking about vehicle preferences, which locos, which trains do you like to drive, on the example of an ICE, or is it day shifts, night shifts, early morning starts that you like to run? And then we also show in the mobile application how the pref score comes up. So why is the shift dispatched? Has the shift been dispatched to you? How does it match your personal criteria? We strongly believe that those decisions that are made by either the dispatcher or by the algorithms at hand need to be made transparent to the staff in order to make it understandable and to make it acceptable for the staff, let's say. Also on the portal side, we offer this functionality to dispatch based on preferences. So if I choose a shift, Wilson will automatically show me where I can reach a high productivity and a high preference score if I dispatch it like that. Always considering different angles of attack. So if I use the algorithm to dispatch it all over the show, I'll get the weekly or monthly roster based on productivity and preferences, but also if I'm on a daily basis, someone called in sick and I need to redispatch a shift, our dispatchers are advised and helped by the software to reach the most, to get the most out of their dispatching moves. So that's that to social. I've been to artificial intelligence, and if you remember my last USP of the three, I'll talk about Wilson Share for a bit more. It is already in use and also a funding project from the German Transport and Traffic Ministry. And what we are doing is cross-company staff dispatching. So the issue is very simply explained. I have a train to run, but I don't have staff. I can share the train run on the Wilson Share Marketplace and see if available staff fits my needs. And we're obviously not like eBay Kleinanzeigen or Craigslist. It's not just a show and buy platform, but we're also walking through the whole qualification management process and the operations that have to follow up. As we are in a high volatile business, after matchmaking, there's a lot of changes coming up. There is a scheduled time being compared to an actual time, and this is all followed through by Wilson Share. There is no need to use Wilson to participate in Wilson Share, but obviously this is making things a lot easier. I'm going to give you a sneak peek in how it looks like or how it feels like. So if you move to have the qualification added to your service, you can add it to Wilson Share, add a little explanation, and then share it with your partners at hand and send it out. So all workflows based on screenshots from PDF files or Excel files, share them via email or fax. And this is actually what we are doing today and what most railway undertakings and service providers do. This is a huge step into automating those workflows and digitizing those workflows. And based on that, we transfer services from one ERP system to another ERP system and allow service providers or other railway undertakings to take over the service. I think we have about 10 companies in the testing phase right now. So to have a real open market platform with companies that have a similar understanding of safe railway operations, because those safety processes are the most important topic for us. We put them together to test the software and also see what other processes we need to implement. But you could also use it if you are a company or a corporate with lots of affiliates, lots of sister companies that work together by sharing staff, or it could also be used for companies that rely on a certain network of service providers to just digitize their operation workflows. Exactly, the funding project is running up until next year. We are increasingly growing the participants in those testings. So if this is something that you might be interested in, just give me a call or a ring. Exactly, we strongly believe that these sharing purposes will also grow beyond train drivers. We are intensively looking at wagon masters, inspection staff, shunters, and also train guards, conductors. The demand is high, and also, as I said in the beginning, with a productivity or staff efficiency from train drivers centering between 35 and 45%. I think 35 is for the big state-owned companies, 45 to 50 is the privately operated companies. We, in any case, have a staff efficiency below 50%. So more than half of their working time, they're not driving trains, they're not working productively. Is it either too high volatile operations? Is it to work time regulations that require staff to return to their starting point at the end of the day? Lots of reasons for that. And combined with the problem that we cannot simply increase number of staff working on rails, we think every solution increasing staff efficiency will find their place in the market. Therefore, we came up with sharing train drivers. Just quick information who is using it as of today. We're a startup. We implemented or first went live with the software last year and found our good share of users. There is full-blown railway undertakings. Is it either in freight or passenger rail? But there's also, and this is very important because those companies and those business models are growing quickly from our perspective, service providers and staff leasing companies for train drivers. And those companies need to collaborate closely. So we have a rising customer base. We left the prototype and testing phase roughly 9 months ago, and are now live, up and running. Show you my almost last slide, looking at what technologies we are using in our application. Lutz, this is a slide that you shared with me, and why we are part of ERCI and STARS. Wilson is based mainly on artificial intelligence. We are running completely cloud-based, and connectivity is one of our main issues, our main fields of work, is because most railway operations usually take place in areas of low connectivity, as you might be aware of. So these are issues we are working with day by day. Coming to an end, I hope you took something away from my presentation and my talks. If so, please get in touch. Feel free to meet us on the fair in Munich. Email me, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm really open for any kind of discussion. Also, especially with Wilson Share, there is a topic that is also controversial. There's a lot of room for also agitated discussion. I'm really looking forward to that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat, what I am opening right now.
I will assist you. I'm pleased
Perfect.
to assist you because I already put some questions into the slide, and there will be another one which I will show you in a short time. Yeah, first question: what means you are offering Wilson as a software as solution as a service solution? What would be my benefit for using it?
Yeah, as I said, I think there's a couple of pretty straightforward reasons to do so. It is cheap. Even though you have to pay a monthly fee to use Wilson, you will not be required for a large upfront payment, and you can also reduce your server and maintenance infrastructure. Especially in volatile times of high inflation, those large upfront investments in IT projects, and I don't know who of you did a IT project, they usually don't finish in time or in budget. This is an easy way to implement a new solution. Also, high availability and constant development are those advantages. If you purchase software in a monolithic structure, you'll pay for every update or for every piece of maintenance. At Wilson, we have 32 people working on the software every day, and we are releasing updates every 2 weeks that are not only but highly guided by user demands or demands of existing customers. So from my perspective, these advantages are seen more and more by the railway industry. That's why we completely focus on offering service solutions. How many clients are already using Wilson? Is it a sole solution for Germany? No, obviously not. We already have customers in Switzerland, for example, and we are aiming at growing also outside of Germany, focusing at the moment on DACH region, but also discussing with companies in Benelux and also outside of Europe, because the general terms of Wilson, the necessity to have intelligent staff dispatching, they are more or less always the same. Of course, you have different work time regulations, different payroll situations, but those is input that can be configured inside of Wilson. That's why we are absolutely looking at other companies and countries. Just to give you one example, where we are actively discussing is, for example, India as well. We'll also be joining the TRACO in Danzig, in Gdansk in September to look at the Eastern European markets. But yeah, at the moment, most customers are coming from Germany, except for one example from Switzerland. Is there a minimum or maximum number of staff to be managed by Wilson? Very good question. Adding up to the software as a service solution point. No, there is not. I have companies that do have 3 employees managed and dispatched in Wilson. But we are also having companies with 300 employees live, and now looking at companies coming up where we agreed on staff bases up to, don't let me lie, I think 3,500 drivers and operator staff. So as we can slice companies down in different regions, teams, or groups, we don't have issues with huge numbers of staff. And due to next to nothing upfront payments, we can also cater for really small companies as well. If a train driver works at 45% efficiency instead of 35% efficiency, doesn't this increase stress? Very good question. Yeah, we also, Wilson Share is, as I said, a quite controversial topic. So we discussed it also with the workers' unions, GDL and EVG in Germany, those guys going on strike on Friday. Also discussed with lots of drivers, made a lot of questionnaires and asked, is this also a topic that drivers want? Because if we implement software and run huge projects that in the end nobody wants to have, it would not be well invested money, let's say. The thing is that most drivers, by far more than 75%, would be very open to drive shared trains or work on something like Wilson Share. Because most of those guys became train drivers for a reason, because they like to drive trains. What they do not like is being guests in ICEs, driving taxis, waiting in, to be honest, shabby break rooms. They took this job, this occupation, for a reason. They want to drive trains, and this is what we enable. So if we have someone driving a train, for example, from Cologne to Mannheim, classical cargo train route in Germany, and then he needs to drive back in the passenger train. He might get paid. In some companies, he might not get paid for that. And if we enable him to drive a train, a cargo train, to follow his occupation and getting paid well, this is for sure, and from the feedback that we got, not an increase in stress. But that said, there will definitely also be people, drivers, staff, that don't want it, and we will not force anybody. It's an offer, but from our perspective, this is something also the drivers want and need.
Yeah, Gerrit, thank you very much for the interesting presentations, and thank you all for the interesting, good questions. You will still have the chance to use the chat for further questions. And not to forget that Menlo 79 will be present at Transport Logistics Fair in Munich and at the Trapo Fair in Gdansk in Poland in September, and both part of the German of the joint booth of the German Capital Region. So now, for the moment, it's time to hand over to my colleague Nardis to introduce the second speaker.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Gerrit, for the very interesting presentation. It was really nice and informative. And hello, everyone. My name is Nargis. I work at the University of Birmingham Centre for Rail Research and Education. And today we have Feraru Dynamics, who is working with us under our cluster. And we now are named as BRIC, Birmingham Centre for Rail Research and Education Rail Innovation Cluster. Andre Feraru, who's the managing director, will be talking about his topic on innovation and how it enables a proactive approach to health and safety. So thank you, Andre, for being with us today. I will pass on the floor to you to talk about your topic.
Can you hear me okay?
We can't hear you very well. Can you, try again?
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Little better, a little better.
Yeah. It could be a bit louder, but give the best that you have.
Get it closer. Okay, so I'll try to share my screen now.
Yeah, if you could play around with the mic a little bit more, because it's very low, your voice.
Is that better now?
Slightly.
Can you see my screen? Is that okay?
Yes.
So you can see my screen. Can you hear me okay now?
A bit better, but yeah, still would prefer a louder voice.
Yeah, sorry about that. I hope you can hear me better now.
It's okay, yes.
Really interesting presentation before, and I think we have a lot of similarities in terms of how we approach helping the railway market. Just a bit of background on myself and the team that we put together here at Feraru Dynamics. So I used to work for Rolls-Royce Aerospace here in the UK. The company is based in the UK in Coventry. We've had a good working relationship with the Birmingham facility for innovation. And essentially, we started the business off the back of a project that I started at Rolls-Royce Aerospace. It was very obvious that railway has a big ambition in the UK to upgrade infrastructure, build high-speed network rails between London and Manchester, and a lot of projects around the West Midlands as well, where we're based. So essentially, I started the business to protect people against hand-arm vibration syndrome, because people that work with power tools to generate the railway itself, so the infrastructure that the trains can run onto, are exposed to hand-arm vibration syndrome because they work with power tools. So what is hand-arm vibration syndrome? It's basically three separate elements of it. So there's the neurological symptoms. The more you work with vibrating machinery, the more ingrained the symptoms become in your hands. And at some point, the symptoms are irreversible, so you have them for life. They always start with neurological symptoms, so just feeling tingling and numbness in your fingertips. And then as the symptom progresses, you start feeling pain. If you don't manage this properly, and the company that you work for it's not aware of HAVs, or it's not managing HAVs properly, then you get to musculoskeletal damage into the median nerve, and then eventually you get to have vascular problems, and essentially blood doesn't flow in your fingertips. So you can't even button your shirts or hold a cup of tea in a cold morning, where you would feel the difference in temperature. So in 2018, we established the business formally with the help of Coventry University. So we're a spin-out from Coventry University, and our main aim is to design and develop technology that we already launched on the market in 2022 to contribute towards the initiative of 0 cases of HAVs in the next generation of workers. I've been going around to multiple conferences in the UK presenting about the initiative, and we're also part of the HS2 project here in the UK. Like I said, the high-speed railway that's being built right now between London and Manchester. So the main aim of the product is to help businesses build control measures around hand-arm vibration. So we have a hardware element and a software element of our solution. First is awareness. So is the company actually aware of hand-arm vibration? And are the workers aware? Is the management aware? Is there something being done about this? You then implement the solution that we offer, and then you get real data on your tools that you use, on the job rotations, on how you actually plan the work in shifts, and get people to work more efficiently and be less exposed as well. And of course, you can do things that are easily accessible, like massaging your hands, taking breaks regularly, stretching your hands while you work with vibrating machinery, so that you prevent hand-arm vibration syndrome. And then using our platform, you can strive towards continuous improvement and essentially achieve our mission, which is 0 cases of HAVs in the next generation of workers. Before we go into the actual technology, I wanted to give you a bit of background on the standards that are in place, because this is a legal standard in place, and the UK is doing a really good job in terms of following the standards and providing legislation and guidance towards mitigating the risk of hand-down vibration. And I'm sure other European countries are doing a relatively good job as well. So initial contact with the syndrome happened in the 1970s when a doctor from GKN identified there is something happening with the workforce. So some people started complaining essentially about pain and numbness in their fingertips. It was diagnosed as vibration white finger because the blood was draining from their fingertips. And then the first ISO standards were published in 2005. That was ISO 5349 and ISO 8041. So they essentially established the legislation that companies have to provide some kind of protection against the risk of hand-down vibration. As technology evolved from 2005 to 2015, the ISO 5349 had a revision on where accelerometers are allowed to be placed to gather relevant data of exposure. So since 2015, the handheld adapters were allowed as a device that can generate representative data of hand-down vibration. And what happened in the UK after this change was a bit of a chaotic period. So a lot of companies started trying to put accelerometers kind of everywhere, on the wrist, on the tool itself, strapping it in random locations. So in 2017, 2 years after the revision of the standard, the government here in the UK, the HAC, published an article and multiple documents, including a frequently asked questions document that was clearly stating there is currently no wrist or glove-mounted device which measures vibration suitable for risk assessment. So in 2017, I was still working at Rolls-Royce, and I was interested in HAVs. I just found out about HAVs a year ago, and I was really interested in providing a solution. So I took this statement from the HAC as a challenge to bring in something new and be the first glove that is actually allowed to generate representative data to risk assess hand-down vibration. So it took me almost 6 years now, but we did it, and we finally have the HAC revising the guidance once again, allowing for glove or handheld adapters to measure vibration at the palm of the hand, and clearly distinguishing between measuring vibration and monitoring vibration. So monitoring vibration is essentially using a stopwatch approach where you base your exposure values on the tool manufacturer's data, so or either measurements that you've done in the past and you've now generalized them to the whole of the workforce, and you just keep track of time, and the calculation is generalized to tell you it's safe to work with this tool for a period of time. And then measurement is something completely different. Measurement implies that you put accelerometers either on the tool fixed on the handle, so between the palm and the actual vibrating surface, or as a handheld adapter, either fixed on the tool or handheld in place by the human hand. So that's, it was huge that we managed to do this through innovation and through our hard work. And now we're really the only device that can measure comfortably at the palm of the hand without disrupting the whole process of work. The device itself is very easy to use. You literally have to wear a glove and just forget that you're wearing it. It will collect data by itself or every second of your workday, and at the end of the day, it will report that to a cloud-based dashboard. So, like I said, it's very easy to use. The only thing the user has to do is to identify himself through the ID tag that you see on the screen. So you would identify at the beginning of the shift, and then that's it. You just forget that you're wearing it. Data will be collected, and then at the end of the day, you go to a docking station, you plug the glove back into the docking station, and that would charge the glove for the next use, and you would transfer the data to the cloud. The Aegis unit, which is the measurement unit, is detachable from the glove, so you can take it out of the glove and put it into another glove. We don't advise every single person to wear a glove every single time, so we don't advocate for continuous measurement. It's only ID tags that will have to be assigned to every single person, but gloves can be swapped around, and that's why we made it detachable, so that you can have your own material glove, but the measurement unit you can swap around. The dashboard itself is built on the state-of-the-art software libraries in terms of UI and user experience. And this is something that I really liked on the presentation before, where you said, in 2023, if you release a software that is working very slow and it's not up to the user experience standards, nobody will really use it. So we really took that serious as well, and we made it, state-of-the-art software that is very comparable to what people use generally on their phones and on their laptops nowadays. So with the software, this is revolutionizing how we look at safety from many aspects. One is it's not just about hand-down vibration, it's also productivity. So you can see clearly, correlate break times with productivity. You can correlate hand grip, hand orientation and grip force with the exposure levels, and train people to work more efficiently, to work better, and to get the job done faster and less exposed to hand-down vibration syndrome. We've automated the exposure assessment. So traditionally, companies had to pay thousands of pounds, and it took them weeks to generate a report that said your workforce is exposed to this levels of vibration. Well, now you can have it at the click of a button, so it really takes about 12 seconds to have a report that is actually even more comprehensive than the traditional report, because we take into account hand orientation, grip force, and the relevant size of the human body. So how big is your hand, how big you are as a human being affects how you absorb vibration. And obviously, you can download the data in an Excel format and do your own analysis with it if you really want to. But everything is already analyzed for you on the dashboard at a click of a mouse. Unique selling points. So obviously, we don't estimate vibration. We don't just measure once and then generalize to the whole workforce, or only measure one tool once and say this is how it's vibrating. We actually measure every single process of the work involved, and we measure every single person involved in the process. So we personalize the exposure calculation for everyone. It's paper-free, so obviously we don't get any paper involved. Everything is electronic. It's digitalized, so we are helping towards the digitalization process. And like I said, it's more than just hand-down vibration. It's also maintenance of the tools, calibration intervals for the tools. It's helping companies make decisions on changing their processes to become more efficient and more productive. And on the manufacturing side, it's also helping companies understand the root cause of errors in manufacturing. So, like I said, the main aim of the whole initiative is zero HAVs. So we don't want anybody getting hand-eye vibration syndrome going forward. And we've developed a roadmap on how you can use our technology to achieve zero HAVs in the next generation of workers. So like I said, the measurement units, which we call the aegis units, can be swapped around. So for 20 operators to be relatively efficient and do it in 3 to 6 months, you would only need 5 measurement units. You would configure work processes and assign ID tags to each operator at risk, and then generate data to clearly form a baseline of exposure and create that transparency that the legislation is requiring you to do. And then use the dashboard to implement control measures and then keep track of them with regular exposure assessments that you can do with the hardware that you already have at hand. Obviously, if you identify that some people are overexposed and you are not able to change processes, then you would require to continuously measure them so that they can benefit from the real-time alerts on the glove itself. So the glove tells people when to stop, when to take a break, and when to do a job rotation in real time using LEDs and buzzer sounds. And then, of course, additional measurements will have to be taken every time you change processes or every time you employ new people. Advanced technologies that we are using, obviously, advanced materials. So the glove itself is made with the best accelerometers, the best sensors out there, and we use textile cables, so there's no comfort impediment into using the glove itself. This is wearable technology, so it has an element of advanced materials in the material of the glove. So the material is moisture wicking, absorbing moisture, and is also breathable and antibacterial. We use Internet of Things. We have Bluetooth technology that connects the ID tag with the measurement unit. And we have the docking station that automatically updates the glove every time you plug it into the docking station, calibrates the measurement unit before and after measurement, and checks for problems or hardware faults that may happen, because obviously this glove is being used in harsh environments. On the software side, we use cloud computing, so all the data is stored securely on the cloud, and you can have access to it from anywhere in the world on any device. We use machine learning to predict the intervals for calibration of the tools. We use machine learning to understand the exposure and how far you have until symptoms may occur. And we're working on artificial intelligence as well now to launch a digital assistant to the occupational hygienist. So here I'm going to open it up for questions, and thank you for listening to me. It's really a pleasure to speak to all of you today. If you are interested in protecting your workforce against hand-eye vibration, there's my email right there. We have a website where you can inquire about the product and tailor a suitable pack for yourself to understand how you can use it and how much it would cost. And we do online and physical demonstrations at your workforce place of work. So I guess I'll take questions now.
Thank you very much, Andre. Very interesting. We have some questions for you here, and if anybody else has any questions, please either raise it in the chat or ask here. Who is using the product in the UK? Could you explain a little bit as so far who's been using it? Yes, please.
Yeah, so we launched it in early 2022 with the Coventry City Council. So the workforce that's working on infrastructure on the roads, and some is working on highways as well. So they're using the product since 2022. We have 6 customers in the construction industry. We have 4 customers in the manufacturing industry that are actively using it to not only prevent HAVs, but also look at the way they do things, so root cause analysis for errors and manufacturing, lean manufacturing, how they would call it. We have railway projects, like I said, the HS2. So unfortunately, I won't be able to mention names because this is quite confidential. Competitors will probably be listening to this at some point as well. So yes, in the UK, we're quite established already on the HAVs market, and there's really nothing like this out there. Everything is either paper-based or just solutions that are estimating vibration exposure.
Yes, the interesting thing is, as you were explaining a bit more about how it's used, I was thinking that, like you said, other industries, not just rail, can benefit. Mining, for example, carpentry, yeah. Right? Like all these that involve the anything that is involved with like electrical or vibrating tools will probably benefit from this kind of research. You have mentioned this, but could you specifically explain one case where it's used in the railway sector as like a very like one specific case that it's been used for? Yes, in which part of the railway sector, for example?
Yes, so the actual track laying. So when people are laying tracks, they do a lot of work involving vibration, from preparing the terrain with jackhammers, walker plates that are leveling the ground, putting the railways on, and then bolting them on. That's all involving handheld power tools that require you to have a strong grip on something that's vibrating very heavily.
Yes. And these are very much still manual, aren't they? They're not machine based, and it's still done by workers.
Yes, unfortunately, there is an element of using for digging the roads, for example, or digging the ground. There are now coming up with bigger machines that you operate kind of like a driver mode, where you're inside a vehicle and you would have something digging the ground there. But there's still power tools that require handheld machine operators.
Yes. Another question is, how much does it cost approximately?
Yeah, so you would have to go on the website and detail, how many people you have exposed in total, how many people you have exposed simultaneously, and then we can configure a pack for you there. Just to give you a rough idea, for a pack of 5. So to measure 5 people and have all the hardware necessary to do that and the software subscription associated with that would be around £3,500.
Okay, I see. The final question is, do you have any international customers? How easy would it be for someone outside the UK to access this product?
Yeah, so we've started working with a Canadian customer in late 2022, November 2022. We had our first international customer in Canada. It's relatively easy. We can ship things now globally. It's no problem, and we can support online with the implementation and with analyzing the data, understanding how to use the dashboard. And then it's really a case of you taking it over, implementing your own control measures,
Okay.
and consulting us when you need to. We do have an international distributor as well. So if all the countries in Europe are covered by SKC Europe.
That's right.
You can just have a look at our website, and again, you can get to request a demo or even purchase directly from there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Andre. Very informative. And if anyone has any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I now hand over to Lutz.
Yeah, thank you, Nagis. Thank you, Andre. Also, from my side, good presentation and very informative. And if there are some additional questions, please ask directly. Open your mic and ask your question.
Andre, could you please put your website again in the chat as well?
Yes.
Yeah, all contact information for sure will be available also afterwards. As I'm finalized the production of the video, and I put all the presentation plus the link to the video into a final follow-up email to all of the participants for sure. And you will have the chance also afterwards to get in contact with the two presenters. But first, I kindly ask you to make a short exercise. You can do it simultaneously, but also afterwards. It is a very short questionnaire to be filled in about 2 minutes. It is on short feedback on this webinar, and Guido would be so kind and put the link to this short questionnaire into the chat. That would be good. So then I have some additional information to you. What is on the next STARS Hack and Match events. There I already mentioned there are 2 additional Hack and Match events planned within the STARS project. One is on digital twin and artificial intelligence for railway products, services, and processes. And we already heard some examples in today's presentation on this topic. And it will take place by mid of June. The date is not fixed for the moment, but as soon as we have it, for sure we will start a call for challenges for this topic. At the beginning of September is planned the final Hack and Match events of the STARS project, which is more summarizing the advanced technologies, especially their contribution for ensuring the resilience of the supply chain. If you want to have some more information on that, please do not hesitate to visit either the STARS project website, which is starseurope.eu, or the STARS B2B meeting platform, which is to be shown on this slide. So some more information on activities ERCI is supporting. ERCI is supporting, for instance, the Speed Match 2023 International Networking Event, which is organized by the Eskişehir Chamber of Industry together with the Enterprise Europe Network, and it is a completely virtual B2B matchmaking event. using not the STARS platform, B2B matchmaking platform, but another platform. And it is not only on railway systems, it's also on aviation and automotive supplier industry. And yeah, whether you are interested to find new contacts in the sector, please do not hesitate to set a profile on this platform. It is free of charge. So then we will have some more activities in connection with STARS and ERCI webinars and tutorials. Yeah. Later this afternoon, a tutorial takes place on the topic of cybersecurity of connected objects, and you will still have the chance to register for this tutorial. Then another tutorials are taking place in connection with the STARS project, in the context of the STARS project on 4th of May on 5G for mobility, and on the 11th of May on the topic of sustainable development in railway business. And the next ERCI STARS webinar will take place on 10th of May, as usual on Wednesday. And it's also on the topic of cybersecurity for railway passengers and freight. But in the focus of ERCI STARS webinars, more the use cases, possible use cases are in the focus. They are all free for participation and for registration, and you are free to register for all these webinars and tutorials. And for sure, you might have additional ideas for topics. Then you could take the opportunity to let us know. And while following our short feedback questionnaire, and therefore you are kindly invited to do so. So, are there additional questions to our presenters of today? Just open your mic and ask. Oh, the audience is so shy today. So for sure you are able to watch this webinar in some days at our STARS project YouTube channel, as the other webinars are already present there. And for sure, you could also read the presentations as soon as I send it to you in my follow-up email. And for sure, you are kindly invited to use the STARS B2B matchmaking platform in order to get in contact to other interesting persons which might be interesting for your business. And for sure, you're also invited to join the STARS tutorial on cybersecurity of connected objects this afternoon. So thank you very much for your participation, and see you soon, and have a nice day. Goodbye.
Thank you, Lutz.
Thank you,
very
Lutz,
much.
and all the
Thank you.
speakers.